Bum-ba-da-dum. Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I'm Banjo Ben. I teach you how to play guitar and banjo. This week is Mandolin Week. We're diving more into the theory behind our mandolin playing. I want you to be able to play in whatever key that you want to play in. So one way that we're going to help us do that is take a basic lick, one that's pretty easy to learn, and learn how to shift it around in whatever key that we want to do. Now we've got one way to do that where we're essentially going to move our hand up these closed positions, but then we're going to dive in how to use other positions to get the same lick. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you're watching here on the website as a GoPick member, you have everything you need right here on this lesson page. Just scroll down, click on the rest of the lesson videos, the tabs, the jam track MP3s. Or if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you can come over to the site and join here in a moment. Become a GoPick member, have access to hundreds of lessons. Let's jump into this one. It's very important as mandolin players that we can take licks and melodies that we know and move them to other keys. That process is called transposing, taking something that we know, moving it to another key. Now, why would you want to be able to do that? Well, a couple of different reasons. If you know a melody or a solo in one key, but then you end up playing that with someone else who sings it in a higher or lower key, you need to have an idea about how to play it in the same key that they're singing in. The other thing is that it really expands our lick library, because if we know a certain lick in a certain key or position, we can then figure out how to take that same lick to other keys and other positions and be able to have, that way we're not stuck with just a certain amount of licks over the key of G or a certain amount of licks over the key of B. We can be able to use both those licks in both keys and really build our library. Let's work on that using the same lick. We're only going to use one lick in our lesson today, but we're going to find out how we can move it all around the mandolin neck. Let's take a look at it. Take a moment just to learn it. I wrote it very specifically for our application here. And we're going to start out in the key of G on that bottom open G string. So we start out with a root, and it sounds like this. So we land there and measure the second measure, it's labeled measure 4, on another G note. Now we're going to come back down. Again, all the way through. That's a pretty simple lick, and maybe you're like, well, that's really easy, or maybe you're thinking that's kind of challenging. Regardless, we're going to use this same lick to teach us the lesson today. And the first thing that I want to do to begin learning that lesson is begin playing that lick with other fingers. Now, do you know what this is called here, this white piece here? That's called the nut, and it can be made out of bone or plastic. And that serves as our, starting point of our strings. But I like to look at that nut as a finger. It's doing what a finger would do if you were to mash down all the strings right here. Same thing that a capo does whenever you move a capo up on a guitar, banjo, or mandolin neck. So if we would imagine that our first finger is having to do the job of the nut, then it would be having to play all of those open strings. And we can simulate that by playing the same lick that we have here, except just shifting down, and everything that we played with our index finger, let's play with our middle finger. And in the same way, everything that we play with our middle finger, let's now play with our ring and get our pinky involved as well. So now we can play that same lick, and it looks like this. Try it again. That's going to require a bit more strength, a bit more dexterity, but that's our key to taking this lick that we've learned and moving it to a different key. Because now let's take it to the key of A. And what we're going to do is actually use our index finger now to move this nut up 2 frets. You see, the key of A is a whole step above the key of G. That's 2 frets, 2 half steps make a whole. So G sharp to A. So now we could take any lick that we know out of a G position, okay, playing a G lick, move the whole thing up, all of the notes up 2 frets, and now we're immediately playing it over an A. And so that's what we're seeing here in measure 7. This is the exact same lick, but everything moved up 2 frets. So instead of the nut covering the bottom notes, we're now going to cover it with our actual index finger. So the lick sounds like this. Pretty cool, huh? Let's try it again. You'll notice my index finger does not get away from the fretboard very far because it's going to have to be used to cover those open strings. Now let me play them back to back for you. Key of G and then moving it up to the key of A. You'll hear that it's the same lick, it just has a different starting point, but all of the notes in the lick have the same intervals relating to one another. Here it is in G. 2, ready, go. Okay, now we've really unlocked it because we have this lick. Whether you like the lick or not, it doesn't matter. We have a lick that we can now play in whatever key we want to play it in, based on where we started with our index finger. Notice that? So the nut started it for us on the G note. But now with our index finger, we started it on an A note. And that means we can take our index finger wherever we want, and whatever note we start on with that index finger, that's the key that we're playing this lick, this particular lick in. If you wanted to play it in B, guess what you'd have to do? Just go up to a B note. And that's what we do in measure 11. Start there, measure on fret 4, which is a B note, and play the same pattern. So now we have a B lick, okay? So you can see how one little lick that we've learned can now be played in any key that we have. And more importantly, I hope that you're seeing how we can simply move a lick by letting our index finger play the role of the nut. Let's move it up one more position before we take it into the next big part of the lesson. Let's play it up in C, closed position, measure 15. We're starting on a C note there. Now let me show you one other thing before we get into using other positions and really unlocking the mandolin neck further. This also means that we could take this G lick and we can find any G note that we want over the mandolin and play it as well, starting with our index finger. So where's another G note? Well, we could take it up to here. There's that G note. I talked about us going up to another root. Now we can just begin there. Imagine that our index finger is covering the nut of down here. So imagine a nut being across the 5th fret of the mandolin. And now this note here is the same thing as playing this open G string. The exact same notes, just an octave higher of. You could even go up to here. Oh, there's another G lick. So we have the same lick now in 3 different octaves of G, and we could play it in whatever key we want. Now that's just the beginning. If you like that and you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, jump on over to the site, check out the rest of this lesson, as well as a whole course that I have called Unlocking the Mandolin Neck that will help you look at the mandolin neck like you've never seen it before.